Hello, my name is Monica Rankin, and in this video we will be learning about the role of cannabis legalization and how it is affecting the healthcare system. So, on the agenda today, first I will be talking about what cannabis is, then I will be educating you on the risks and benefits of using cannabis, along with how it affects healthcare workers, and specifically how it is affecting paramedics. What is cannabis? Cannabis is known by its various street names such as pot, weed, and grass, and it is one of the oldest psychoactive substances and grows naturally in many countries. It comes from the plant Cannabis sativa, and it was illegal since 1923 until October of 2018 when Justin Trudeau worked hard to make recreational cannabis use legal in Canada. So up next, I have a video that will further explain the different ways that cannabis can be used.
The allure of marijuana is that it's kind of fun. It's relaxing. It's a little bit of a social lubricant sometimes. It's a good time.
Bongs are basically just a water pipe.
Rather than going directly into your mouth, it goes through a water filtration process and then into your mouth.
Makes it probably, I would argue, a little bit of a smoother hit.
Bongs typically are made out of glass these days.
I've seen people make bongs out of snow though, so you really could use almost anything.
Blunts traditionally are marijuana encased in tobacco. In Colorado, we're not allowed to combine the two, so you won't see blunts for sale in Colorado.
Vaporizers, as opposed to burning your cannabis, you heat it up to right before the point of combustion.
It's more of a boiling point. It doesn't burn, it doesn't combust, it evaporates.
It's similar to smoking, but you're just inhaling a vapor.
As far as edibles go,
we have very healthy edible options. We've got your typical brownies and cookies and Crispies, but we also have granola and fruit and nut balls.
It takes an hour, sometimes maybe an hour and a half to feel the effects of an edible. I would recommend moderation.
We even actually have transdermal patches that you don't have to eat or smoke anything. You can just put on your body, and in that sense, you're not consuming anything. Right through the skin.
Yeah.
As for any substance, there are risks to consuming marijuana. A large risk is that young adolescents are among the highest cannabis consumers, which is concerning because individuals under the age of 25 who are regularly using cannabis are at higher risk for developing mental health disorders. When under the influence of cannabis, individuals have issues with impulse control, attention, and emotional regulation. This gets even worse when operating a motorized vehicle, which is why the risk of motor vehicle collisions due to marijuana consumption are very high. Furthermore, there are various health risks associated with long-term use of marijuana, such as chronic bronchitis and negative pregnancy outcomes. Along with this, there is a risk that regular consumption may progress to the use of other illicit drugs. So now I will be showing you a short video that further explains the risks of underage cannabis consumption.
A quarter of Canadians aged 15 to 24 use cannabis each year. Most people believe cannabis is safe, but few realize that there are specific risks for people under age 25. Here are 5 reasons young people should try to delay cannabis use as long as possible. First, our brains are not fully developed until around age 25. Early and regular cannabis use can hurt the brain's prefrontal cortex, which can impair memory, decision-making, and problem-solving. We don't know if these effects are permanent and can't predict who will be affected. Second, cannabis use can lower motivation in young people and is tied to lower grades and school attendance. Cannabis use before age 16 is associated with the use of other drugs in later life. Third, regular cannabis use may be linked to depression and anxiety and is associated with psychosis, especially among those who have a parent or sibling who has experienced mental illness such as schizophrenia. Fourth, 1 in 6 individuals who use cannabis during their teen years will experience problematic use, physical dependence, and/or symptoms of withdrawal. In young people, problems with cannabis can develop more quickly than with tobacco or alcohol. Last, in Canada, teens between 15 and 19 are the most likely to drive after using cannabis. Cannabis increases the risk of car accidents by impairing the driver's reaction time, coordination, and concentration. If you or someone you know is under the age of 25, don't use cannabis. Delay use as long as possible, decrease use, and don't use and drive.
So, although we have just gone over many risks to using cannabis, there are also many benefits to the legalization of marijuana in Canada. Cannabis has been illegal to purchase or consume for many years, which has caused a large black market. Legalizing cannabis has now eliminated the criminal aspect of marijuana consumption. This will hopefully help reduce the black market and eliminate most of the criminal activity in Canada that comes from illegal marijuana distribution. When purchasing cannabis off the black market, individuals had no way of knowing whether their marijuana was contaminated with harmful substances such as mold, pesticide, or other illicit drugs. Since marijuana has been legal in Canada, it is much safer for its consumers as it is regulated by the government and undergoes tests to ensure safety before putting the marijuana on the shelves to be purchased. In addition, the legalization is beneficial for Canadians as tax dollars are no longer being spent on the prohibition legislation. Finally, a large benefit to the legalization is that cannabis has contributed to $8.26 billion to Canada's economy as of July, while accounting for 9,200 people currently working in the sector. So here I added in a photo just displaying more health-related benefits of marijuana, such as Parkinson's treatment, Crohn's treatment, anxiety reduction, arthritis symptom relief, asthma, and many other health-related benefits. So, how has the legalization of marijuana in Canada affected the healthcare system? In Ontario alone, emergency room visits have nearly tripled, with 1,500 cannabis-related visits from 2017 to 2018. This has caused an increased workload for the healthcare team. In addition, cannabis has been hard for physicians to recommend to their patients since there are no set dosage or well-documented side effects. Before a physician can authorize cannabis to their patient, they are required to sign a medical document indicating the daily quantity of dried cannabis they are going to consume, expressed in grams. Some physicians are uncomfortable with these regulations and are not going to authorize cannabis to their patients because they do not feel safe doing so. So going back a bit, you can see here there's a graph showing the obvious increase in hospital visits due to cannabis poisoning from 2013 all the way in 2018 when cannabis was legalized in Canada. I will now be explaining to you how the legalization of cannabis has affected paramedics specifically. Since the legalization of marijuana, paramedics have responded to more frequent calls due to cannabis misuse. These calls can be challenging for paramedics as patients may be reluctant to tell the paramedics what they have indulged in due to embarrassment. Another issue is often marijuana may be ingested by accident in the form of an edible, so both the patients and the paramedic will be confused about why the patient is experiencing the symptoms they are experiencing, which will increase the anxiety of the patient as well, making the paramedic's job more difficult. To conclude this informative video, I will be interviewing two individuals who had to activate EMS and were transported to the hospital by paramedics due to cannabis misuse. Hello, tonight I'm here with Christiana and Frank Spritzy, and they're going to tell us a bit about their experience with cannabis consumption. So, can you tell me a bit about that night?
Well, I guess roughly a year ago, I was having some work done by a tattoo artist friend of mine, and he gave us a cookie, a cannabis cookie.
Okay.
And we had had cookies before, but you know, we brought this home, and I around 8 o'clock at night on a Friday night, I think it was, we indulged, and I had half of the cookie, which I would say was about 2 inches in diameter.
Okay.
And my wife had a quarter. Christiana had a quarter.
Okay.
And I would say about a half hour to 45 minutes later,
Yeah.
Christiana was feeling very out of breath. She was having a hard time breathing.
Okay.
She was very paranoid.
I remember feeling nervous, panicky. I was not in control, and I guess because I couldn't breathe well, and you know,
Okay.
like
Yeah.
I was panicking and stuff, right? So that takes your breath away. And I'd also had an aortic valve replacement.
So what made you call 911?
911 was basically the fear of her health, because and what it was doing to her. I had never experienced that before, so I thought on the safe side to call the ambulance. And
Okay. And how did you find the paramedics handled the
oh,
situation?
they were great. I mean, a lot of them were laughing because I guess they take a lot of these calls where I guess people in our generation and our era, we were used to a lot milder
Yeah.
strains,
Yeah.
I guess. But
Yeah.
so
What happened from back then when I was young to when I ate that cookie was I was
Totally different
totally
experience.
out of control. The experience
Yeah.
in itself was very different.
Yeah.
And like I said, I was panicking because I didn't know what was happening to me.
Right.
And I don't remember everything about that night either. But, the paramedics kept telling me it's going to
that
be
everything was going
okay.
to be okay.
You're in a safe place. They were very, very reassuring. I felt bad for them,
Yeah.
but by the same token, I didn't know what was going on.
Right. So how often do you both indulge in marijuana?
I
Well,
personally don't,
Yeah,
but
she has.
he actually,
I indulge quite a bit.
yeah.
And do you find since the new legalization, the potency has risen quite a bit?
It has. So I do have to watch my consumption because but like everything else, I guess if you get used to it, you can go a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
So would you both say you're for legalization in Canada?
Yeah.
Me?
it was,
Personally, like I said, I would not partake in it again, and I don't. But the legalization aspect is a very, very good one. There are a lot of people that suffer from a lot of different things, and I get it firsthand from them how much it helps them with pain, with emotions, people that suffer from depression. I mean, people that can't sleep.
There's a lot of health benefits, basically.
There
Yeah,
are.
of course.
That I think the legalization of it has made it a lot easier for people that, it's not just to get stoned,
Yeah.
but it does help a lot with mental issues, anxiety, and that sort of thing.
Okay.
Definitely,
Yeah.
and after a hard day's work.
Yeah, of
kinda,
course. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for your time here today. This
No
was
problem.
very-
Thank you.
Thank you
Okay,
for your
well-
time, Monica. It was nice talking to you.
Yes.